Hey everyone, Rick here with Rick's 1/3 Scale Models with a quick little tool trick idea tutorial on making guardrails. So a lot of different models, you'll have guardrails protecting different items, steps, handrails, protecting your headlights, for example, on this M113, and other things. And sometimes the models have it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you want to upgrade and make it look a little nicer. And there's lots of ways to go about that. Obviously, you can use whatever the kit came with, or you can scratch build one using like a polystyrene type product, such as like this. And you can take the individual pieces and bend it. Sometimes a little challenging depending on the bend. You may have to heat it a little bit to soften it, or you can just take a sprue sheet and, have a little bit extra somewhere on it. Take a long strip like this, heat it up, pull it to the diameter you want, and build it out of that. Now, obviously, those all work. Unfortunately, though, you get into several issues. Number one, it's real fragile. You bump it, it breaks real easy. If you're buying the sprue piece pre to the correct diameter, that's one challenge you don't have to deal with, but it still comes down to cutting it, fitting it, etc. Another idea is to make it out of wire, and there's several ways to go about that. You can make it out of wire and then glue it with like a CA type glue. That'll work, or you can solder it. What I want to talk about is taking it out of wire and soldering it. I think that creates a lot better look, and it works out well. Now, you can buy wire from different products, different sizes. I just happened to be doing a pretty large electrical project at home and had this ground wire, which is number 6 THHN, and inside of it, it has a whole bunch of wires which are right about the right diameter. So I stripped the plastic off the outside, and you have a bunch of little wires in here that, for what I'm doing, are just seem like right about the right size for what I want to do. So after stripping it, I just take and unravel one of these strips, and then I have the wire. Now what I'm going to do is go through a tedious process of bending this to get it just right. Now, one of the things that I learned a trick on is you make this. Now, in looking at this, you have to solder in two places for this rail, because you've got the part that comes up the front, goes back down to the side, but then you got these two straps that go across. Well, what I've done is, for the purpose of soldering, I've bent it all the way around to where it's pretty close. I just have to make sure these will line up just right there, and then it's going to kind of hold it in place as I solder it. Now, when it comes to soldering, there's lots of ways to do it, but pretty much it's a very simple concept. You heat it, you put the soldering resin on, and it melts, and then once it cools, it's bonded. The problem is, this is brass wire. Brass conducts heat really effectively, so you can't hold on to it. So what I would suggest is getting yourself some type of connector that you can hold it, click it, such as this one, and then what I do is have it just like that. Now, I'll move the model out of the way. What I'm going to do is adjust this just a hint so I get more easy access to where I need to be. Now, that's going to hold it in place. What I also have is this really fine soldering wire. Now, this says it's a 0.015 diameter, and I'm assuming that's millimeters, but it's really fine stuff. Now, you can use the standard rod where it's a metal tip and it electrically gets hot, and then you hold it there and melt it. Or you can get yourself just one of these little torch types devices, which work really well. Now you just get it lit up, it gets hot, heat up the metal. You'll kind of see the color starting to get changed, and that it's getting right where you want it. And then you're going to just lightly touch some of it and get it going. Okay, so there's the soldered device. Now what I'm going to do is spend a little bit of time kind of sanding this and cleaning it up. Doesn't take a lot of time, and then I'll go through the process of cutting these off, but I want to clean it up before I cut them because it's real easy to break them if you're a little aggressive. For this process, I'm just going to go about taking a sanding rod and kind of lowering the size of this one joint. I'm not real happy with that. When I go and solder it, either goes great the first time or it looks like this. So that was one of those bad welds. But it's a pretty simple process to clean it up. So now I'll go through the process of nipping these back. Now I'm going to start way long so that I don't cut too much off. If I mess them up, then I gotta make another one. I'll get it lightly adjusted, and then on the bottom side, you have to kind of lay it flat and then bend it. Now, the nice thing about the brass wires, it's a lot easier to bend. Then I'm going to take the bottom and lightly flare it outward. And sand this down on the inside so that it lays flat, more like the actual one looks on the vehicle. And the other advantage of the brass wire is it sands easier. And then the same thing with this side, because it's actual flattened out on the end and flared. So the next part will be adjusting the back straps. So that's going to sit about like that. So I'll have to kind of fit it in there. And once this is painted, it'll look a lot sharper. Just a little more off the inside here. And the only issue I'm going to have is I'm going to have to move these over a little bit because it's a little too far over. But that's this process. This is kind of what it's going to look like. Once I adjust this, I'll get it glued on and it'll be good to go. Gluing on these, I'm going to use a CA glue and then kind of lay it out. What I also do is once I glue it, I take a Q-tip and kind of dab up some of the glue so you don't get the big run spot. But that's how you make guardrails by soldering them. It's just a matter of cleaning this up a little more after it's done. And then you kind of lightly bend it, just being careful here. But that's my little tutorial. Any questions, comments, let me know. Take care and happy modeling. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.